I am starting the recording. So today's session is Tea Time with Templeton on February 17th. This is a recording that we will do post later on the district website. Tea Time is a question and answer session with Washougal School District Superintendent Dr. Mary Templeton, as well as a set of special guests. The focus for this tea time is early learning programs. And we'll be talking today about some programs here in the Washougal School District that are offered by the district, as well as some that are offered by partner agencies. For those of you who are joining us live, you can ask questions during the Zoom. You do that using the Q&A feature that is built into Zoom. It should be down toward the bottom edge of your screen. It looks like a couple of text bubbles. If you have a question for a specific person, you can direct the question to them by putting their name in it. Or if you're not sure which program it is, just put in your question and we'll figure out who's best able to answer it. So today we have with us Dr. Mary Templeton, who's the superintendent here in Washougal. We have Renae Burson McMurray, or Renae McMurray, or Renae Burson, depending on how long you've known her, who is the associate superintendent for teaching and learning and oversees our early learning programs. We have, I think, Lisa Young, although I don't see her on my screen, maybe she's not in here yet, who supervises the Washougal Community Education Preschool. Leslie DeShazer, who is a supervisor for the Developmental Preschool, which is a district program. And I should have written down everybody's titles because I'm realizing I'm going to get into this and not remember everything. We have Michelle Aguilar, who works for ESD 112 and supervises 123 Grow. And actually, maybe what I'll do is turn it over to Renae and she can fill in the rest of people's job titles because I'm not sure that I have enough details to do that. So Renae, would you mind introducing the rest of the special guests today?
Yes, I think you introduced Michelle. Jessica Coffman, like to introduce her as our Head Start liaison. So welcome. I'm not sure if you can hear me right now. I'm getting a message on Zoom that says it's not accessing my microphone. You can hear me. Okay, so I'm just going to ignore that. That's popping up on my screen. Okay. And thank you to Carrie Williams, who's representing ECEAP, our Early Childhood Education Assistance Program, which is our partnership with ESD 112. And I think joining her is Katrina Alderman, who will also be presenting on the ECEAP program. Right, and thank you for all being here today.
Okay, so if we caught everybody, hopefully that worked well. So again, if you're joining us for the webinar, make sure you use the Q&A feature to ask us questions. We'll be addressing those in the second half of today's presentation. And I think that is the last of the set of things that I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Mary Templeton, who's going to kind of kick us off.
All right. Well, thank you, Les, again, and thank you, special guests and Renae, for leading this very important work in the district. The Tea Times with Templeton, we've had a lot of focus recently on the reopenings of school, the safety. That's really been a lot of our energy has been put into that. But I want to say that while all that's been going on, we have also made sure that we have been continuing to thrive. During this time of pandemic, we could just say, well, we're just going to survive. But indeed, we haven't been. We've continued to invest in all of our programs that help our children be known, nurtured, and challenged to rise to the top. Early learning is one of those. And so I'm excited to hear from our experts who we've brought as my special guests. And hopefully everybody has a cup of tea. Now, I actually have to say, I've cut myself off of some of that, like the special dark chai tea with the espresso. It was a little bit too much, and I think I better pare it down. So I've got some hot chocolate today. Anyway, thank you for coming. We used to do a coffee with Mary and Renae. This was kind of a blend of that, so maybe the hot chocolate works. Really, this is an opportunity for a town hall for our community and our school district folks, our stakeholders. If you have questions, please let us know what those are. This is a chance for us to respond. We look forward to the time in the future when we can meet again in person at specific school buildings so we can kind of support those particular communities with answering questions that you might have. So So with that said, again, I've said it once, I'll probably say it about 4 more times before I'm finished. We have big ideas here in this district. We demand that we're going to know, nurture, and challenge all of our students to rise to the top. What that means is that every child, when they finish with their experience with us, has in their hands social capital that they can buy a future. Our children need to be confident. They need to be prepared. They need to be hopeful, resilient, and moving forward to do their part in our community. All of that actually starts at the very beginning. How children begin their experience with formalized education is critical. We know that to be true. When we think about equity, that's another part of the importance as we know, nurture, and challenge all students to rise. Equity really, again, is at the heart of what we're doing. We are investing in our children to make sure that they are prepared for that formalized education, even though the state of Washington does not fully fund early learning. In fact, there's a lot of work to be done. So here's my pitch, my legislative advocacy pitch. If you have access, use your voice to let our legislators know and our local decision makers that we must continue to invest in early education. It does matter. It matters tremendously. And as you hear from our experts about what they're doing to invest in the lives of our children, I call them our children because they are, you'll understand how important it is that we continue to have resource. But our school district, we are investing because we believe in equity strongly, and this is an opportunity for us to talk about that. You'll hear more from the experts about early learning, but students learn social, emotional, academic skills that support them for the future years. Students engage in structured and unstructured play, and they explore the world around them, and they're guided by their educators. Students learn about kindergarten readiness, and we actually measure that from a state perspective to make sure that students are supported as they move forward. So with that said, I've already given you my pitch from the legislative advocacy part. I let you know how important early learning is for us. We are committed to it. We're excited about the team that we have today to let you know what we've got going. As it relates to Tea Time with Templeton, we will continue to record these in case this time is not as convenient for you. We're eager to make sure that you've got the opportunity to hear the information, and we look forward to questions at the end. So now I turn it over to Renae.
Thank you. I want to take a quick opportunity to introduce Lisa Young, who's joined our panelists. So she's the manager of our early learning programs, our community preschool that we'll hear about a little bit later. So thank you, Lisa, for being here today. And it's exciting as I look at our panelists just to think about how many early learning programs we have in Washougal. So we know that access to positive learning experiences from birth to 5 are critical. So if you do any of the research, you know that all those synopses are being developed during that time, and it's really critical to student success later in life. So we're proud to support those programs that develop the whole child and prepare students for success before they enter our kindergarten classrooms. Today, I want to make sure we get started and give everybody time. So we'll start with Michelle Aguilar with information about our partnership with ESD 112 and the 1-2-3 Grow and Learn program that's hosted at Hathaway Elementary.
Thank you, Renae, and thank you, Dr. Templeton. It's really exciting to be here and to share with all of you that are on tonight or this late afternoon about 1-2-3 Grow and Learn. This is a parent, child, or child and adult group, facilitated group session that we invite families to come to for free. It's held at Hathaway when we're not in a state of COVID. So this year we have transitioned and we're holding it all virtually. So right now we have sessions Monday through Friday in the mornings. And those, I'll send the link, I'll put the link in the chat box so you can register if you'd like to. But it's with the same facilitators. They follow the same routines. They do story time, they sing songs, they talk about letters and numbers. And it's just a great opportunity for families or whoever is taking care of a child during the day to really engage in some school readiness activities. We really pride ourselves in finding activities that parents or adults can do at home with their children that do not cost a lot of money or no money at all, and typically are activities that you can find in your home, like maybe, you know, socks or the empty cereal box, things like that, that we can do different things with. And so that is one of the things that we pride ourselves in. During non-COVID, A big focus of 1, 2, 3 Grow and Learn is to connect children and their adults with the elementary school that they would potentially go to when they enter kindergarten. So not only are they having this experience of a preschool, but it's in the school. So when they start kindergarten, they've already been there and they already have relationships. They already know the routines. They already feel comfortable. So it's not such a shock to walk into a 1, 2, 3 Grow and Learn. And I mean, sorry, I saw the chat box and it made me change my words. When they walk into kindergarten, it doesn't feel so new to them and they're ready to learn. And so we really appreciate the partnership that we have with Washougal School District at Hathaway, and the families that come are really devoted, and they would come every single week when we were in person. And we have a partnership with the General Federation of Women's Clubs, and they have been great supporters of our programs too. They come every single week. They bring backpacks and books for children that attend a certain number of sessions. And so it's great to have that community connection. I can also share that when we're in person, our routines are typically doing an art project and songs and the same things that we do in the virtual sessions, except we also do snack. We don't do snack virtually, that would be a little hard, but in person, we are able to offer a snack too. We have had great feedback from families at the end of the virtual sessions that have just said how much it means to their children to still get to see their teachers, to still get to experience the same routine that they would have in person. So it feels a little more normal to them in this time of nothing being normal, right? And so that's what I can tell you a little bit about Grow and Learn. I mean, honestly, I could talk all night about 1, 2, 3 Grow and Learn and all the things that they do. And I'm looking forward to hearing any questions that you have. I'd be happy to answer them. And like I said, I'll put the chat to register in the box. And I see somebody added the link to our website with information too. So thank you for that. And yeah, it's nice talking to you all.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Now we'll move on to the next program, which is Lisa Young will be presenting about our community-based preschool programs.
Okay, thank you, Renae, and thank you, Dr. Templeton, for focusing on early learning today. I wanted to just mention, as far as Michelle said with the 1, 2, 3 Grow, what's exciting about the program in a typical environment is that it is on Wednesday mornings. And so for our other programs, I know for EOCF and for our community-based programs, our immersion programs, that students are able to attend on that Wednesday when they otherwise wouldn't have preschool. So for some of our students, that's just one extra day to have a wonderful opportunity to learn. And so we appreciate that very much as far as the scheduling goes. For my programs, or our programs for the Washougal School District, we have had programs that have been offered by the school district for over 30 years. I have not been here for those full 30 years, but it has quite a history. And the model of it has been that it is offered at each one of the elementary schools, now of which we have 4. So Cape Horn Sky, Hathaway, Gauze, and Columbia River Gorge. And the intent is that students can attend preschool, much like Michelle said, that you have the opportunity to be in a school setting. They become comfortable with their home or boundary school, and that will be also typically where they will attend kindergarten. So even that second year of preschool, the pre-K year, they will have some opportunity to work with the kindergarten teachers and be in those classrooms, all helping with that transition to kindergarten and making sure we're always focusing on that kindergarten readiness. And so we constantly are getting feedback from the kindergarten teachers, maybe things that they're doing that are new that we weren't aware of, or new curriculums that they've found that would especially help if our students had been exposed to that as well. So it makes for a wonderful transition for these students. We offer preschool to 3- and 4-year-olds that should be fully potty trained. Our morning classes are for 3-year-olds and young 4s. They attend 3 mornings a week for 2.5-hour sessions. And in those classes, we do much like we would in the pre-K class. We're working on academics, social emotional curriculum. We have physical education. We offer music instruction and all kinds of enrichment that are attached to all of those subject matters. Our pre-K program meets 4 afternoons a week. These are for students that would be going to kindergarten the following school year. They meet 4 hours or 4 days a week, 3-hour classes. So that gives us a little more time to go in depth on our curriculum. We offer snack in classes, which also helps with that socialization component and also learning what they will be doing in kindergarten as far as expectations for manners and such. We are fortunate in that we can provide busing to the program. So in the morning, the students, if they're going to their boundary school, may have busing in the morning. The afternoon students can have busing home from school if they're at their boundary school. We're very fortunate in that we have teaching teams. We have 2 teachers in each classroom, typically up to 16 students. That, of course, is a pre-COVID number. The classes have been smaller this year. We're very fortunate. Last spring, when schools closed, we were still able to continue a distance program with our families. And that was very exciting. Much like Michelle said, too, the idea of continuing that routine, continuing to see your teacher, your fellow classmates was really exciting for the kids. This school year, we've been able to have in-person classes. We've started small, we've grown a little bit, and we will just see what happens if we can continue to grow. But we're also having to follow the guidelines that the school district is under as far as distance, those kinds of things in the classroom. So that limits the amount of students we can serve at this time. As I mentioned, our curriculum is wide-ranging, and we're very fortunate in that the district supports us to have an early learning component to the curriculum that they adopt. So our literacy program, our math program, our social and emotional program, the second step program, are all curriculum that these students will then be seeing in kindergarten and moving on. And that's a wonderful component in that there's that continuity for them. We also have a music program called First Note, which I think Head Start also uses. And it's a fun program. It's engaging for the students. It is geared towards them. And it is something that the legislature chose to fund several years ago. And we were able to take advantage of that. Leslie, I believe you use it in your program as well. So it's a wonderful component. And then we are fortunate in that we are in the school buildings. We are included in enrichment opportunities, in activities that may come to the schools to be presented. And they include the preschool in that too. So we get to be in the gym, we get to see what it's like to be at different events, how we're supposed to comport ourselves at those events. And so it's just a wonderful additional component to the program. I would need to say too that Leslie is an important part of our program as well, in that she works on many supports that the district has to offer, whether it might be speech, whether it might be different therapy, whether it might be just evaluations for students to see if there are supports that might be necessary. And so we're kind of a first step in that, that we can offer supports in our program that Leslie may have advocated for. And so that's a wonderful component as well. We are a tuition-based program. We, as Dr. Templeton mentioned, there is not funding for all of these programs currently by the state. So we are a tuition-based program in that we do need to help fund ourselves. We do have some supports that we can offer for families that do not have access to other programs that are supported or offered in the community in order to help them have access to an early learning program. And we hope in the next couple of weeks to have all of our registration information out to families for this coming school year. I'm getting a lot of emails, and so I know people are ready. As we all know, they're thinking towards fall already. And so we're in the process of getting that ready for them. So I thank you all, and please ask any questions at the end during our question and answer period. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lisa. You did a nice introduction for Leslie DeShazer, who's presenting next on our inclusive preschool.
Hi, I'm Leslie DeShazer. I am the district's Birth 5 teacher on special assignment. I get to be the best job in the district, I think. I'm super proud of this whole team, and I get to work with everyone on this screen. 1, 2, 3 Grow and Learn takes place in my classrooms. I work with Lisa. I share students with ECEAP. I've transitioned kiddos from EOCF this year. So I get to work with all of the district's littlest learners, and it is the best job in the district. So anyhow, my main goal is to put interventions in place for students who need them, whether it be a minor accommodation in a community ed or Head Start or ECEAP classroom to ensure success, or to get speech therapy going, to get occupational therapy, physical therapy, or educational services. So my team screens and evaluates students to figure out how we could best support them and their families in preparation for kindergarten. We are a school district program, so there are no costs to be a part of our program. The district is an inclusive provider. We support kiddos from birth until 5 years old. So if you were born with an identifiable disability, we are on board right away. If you're 2 and something pops up, we will be there to support you. I get to go to doctor's appointments with families who want support. I collaborate with medical teams, health teams, to be sure that we are able to follow through with recommendations from health teams. We have an amazing support staff. We have speech therapists, occupational therapists, and physical therapists who support the preschool, who are incredible women with great minds that are able to put really strong accommodations into place to support our kiddos. Once we get them to the 5-year-old point, we put a lot of energy into transitioning them into kindergarten, determining the very best team to transition them to continue to ensure success. We have great results typically. Early intervention is super important, and if we can get in early enough, the kiddos often can head to kindergarten and fly, which is our goal, and often we are able to reach that. So this year we received a large grant from OSPI to focus on inclusive learning. And so we put a bunch of energy into training our staff, a bunch of money into all of the community ed and special education classrooms to try and make the environments more inclusive so that all races, ethnicities, and abilities are supported and they have what they need to be successful in class. We put a lot of energy into the families that we support, just because life can be hard when your kiddo has any kind of a special need, and we want to be sure that their first adventure within special ed in the school district is positive and full of solutions. So that is a big angle we put a lot of energy into. This year, we were able to put the majority of the community education teachers and all of the special education instructors in the preschools into the Washington State Fellowship Program, which is a brilliant chunk of Washington minds that are focused on early learning. And I feel like we are going to come out of this stronger, more educated, more prepared to support our students. And so I'm super proud of this whole early learning group. I'm super glad that on Hathaway's campus, we have everybody represented. It really just feels like the right place and the right time to continue to push forward with early education.
All right, thank you, Leslie.
Yep.
Next we have Carrie Williams and Katrina Alderman, who are sharing information about ECEAP, which is our partnership with ESD 112 for Early Childhood Educational Assistance Program.
Carrie, you're muted.
Carrie, you're muted.
Okay, it's working, right? Okay, I swear it pushed the button. Katrina's going to start us out with how to apply for ECAP and enrollment.
Yeah, and I just have to ditto, the Hathaway campus is pretty amazing in regards to the early learning options that families have. So it's exciting to be one of the many options that families can get to choose from. So we're happy to be part of that team, and it was great to hear you highlight that, Leslie. For ESD 112's ECAP program, enrollment in ECAP services is based on eligibility for income. However, there are some kind of exceptions to that, or areas where we are able to still enroll. So a child that has a current individual education plan, or a family that's currently working with a CPS worker in supporting their family. There's a variety of things that can also make a family eligible. So what we encourage families to do, if they're interested to see if they qualify, is to reach out and do an application with our program or with EOCF. They're another contractor for early Head Start, and ECAP services in the area as well. So don't let the income piece necessarily shy you away, because there are a small percentage of over income families that we are also permitted to enroll depending on some additional circumstances. It is a free program to qualified families. And one of the things that's exciting about ECAP services is their comprehensive program. So there's hearing and vision screenings, there's developmental screenings, which also allows us and Carrie's team to do referrals onto the district when there's concerns about a child's development. There's also a family support component, so that families can have the additional support getting connected to healthcare providers in the area, picking a dental home, all of those things that really help children to be ready for school when that time comes. The other wonderful thing about ECAP is that once a family qualifies for ECAP, their child can remain in the program until they're eligible for kindergarten. Which is nice. There's not an additional application that has to be done every year. If your child enters our program when they turned 3, they're able to stay until they transition on to kindergarten. And the exciting thing is that more recently, instead of having to wait until they turned 3.5, if your child has been receiving birth to 3 services or early intervention services, home visiting services, they are eligible for ECAP when they turn 3. So that's exciting information that some families might not be aware of. Children that qualify also Carrie will share some information specific to the curriculum and what the day looks like at our particular program at Hathaway. And similar to the other programs that Lisa shared, ensuring that children have a variety of opportunities available to them. The schedule at Hathaway is a school day schedule, and Carrie can provide some details around that, but it also provides the option then for families that maybe a part-day schedule might not work for. This is another option and opportunity for families for that information as well. I've shared information regarding the contact. If families have questions or want to see if they are eligible for ECAP services, we do have some current openings at our Hathaway location. So this is an exciting opportunity to share that with families that might be eligible. We look forward to hearing from you. And Carrie will share more about actual day-to-day.
Okay, so at Hathaway, it is a school day slots. There's 10, and right now I believe we have 3 available. Because of the COVID, parents actually can decide if they want in-person or still do virtual. We're giving parents that option. Right now, all the kiddos enrolled are doing in-person. There are 2 teachers with the 10 kids. We have a family support specialist that comes out and helps out as well. They help them with resources, their health and wellness, making sure vaccinations are up to date, things like that. And then they set family goals with them and help them with the resources that they need to make those happen. We use creative curriculum and TS Gold, and we have home visits, and we have parent-teacher conferences several times a year. If there's more things needed, we are definitely like, if it's like a monthly thing that we need to check up with the parents, we're willing to do that. It kind of goes with what the parents' needs are. We provide snacks and lunch, and we do individualization on all of the lesson planning through observations and assessments that we do with the children. So that way, you know, the lesson plan is for everyone. However, there's individualization for each child to where they are at the moment. And then the teacher sets goals to try to get those things achieved for each individual child. I don't think I can think of anything else. I am new to Washougal Hathaway, and with all this COVID situation, my job has changed several different times this school year, but Hathaway has always been part of my job. And I'm glad to be here. I actually grew up in Camas, and so being here at Hathaway kind of feels familiar. And I actually went to kindergarten here, so it's kind of be back to my roots.
Welcome back, Carrie.
Thank you.
And our next program is our EOCF program, Educational Opportunities for Children and Families. It's our Head Start program, and Jessica Coffman is here to present on that.
Hi, I am so happy to have a chance to talk about our agency. I always love an opportunity to do that. And Lisa, I wanted to let you know my own 19-year-old son started his education career through Washougal's community education, and he was the salutatorian for Washougal this year. So very proud of his accomplishments, and I give kudos to the Washougal School District for such wonderful opportunities for him. I'm the supervisor at Hathaway for the Head Start program. We always say portable H for Head Start. It's easy to find. I'm going to sound a lot like Carrie and Katrina. We are very close in the services we provide because EOCF, actually, we've been a nonprofit agency in Clark County for over 50 years, and we serve over 1,300 children throughout Clark County, Cowlitz, and Pacific counties. And we also serve Head Start, ECEAP, and Early Head Start. So we also have provide a holistic approach to the whole family and child, as far as having a family advocate. Each family member, parent has a family advocate that is assigned to them while their child is in our program. And they do meet regularly on top of the teacher meeting with the parents for parent-teacher conferences. We are a family-driven program that identifies what program works best for the family's needs. And this year being COVID, we had to switch gears quite a few times trying to figure out how we were going to keep going. And we have successfully been from the very beginning providing in-person services. Hathaway Head Start has 8 children at this time. They go 4 days a week. There's 2 teachers. And then we found out by polling our parents how many would want to do virtual. So we run a 10-child virtual classroom that the other teacher meets with. And all of those children get at least 3 opportunities. One is a Zoom circle altogether. One is an individualized, just the teacher and the child and parent. And then my teacher out there in Hathaway has been able to coordinate with a community member and get a community room that they meet one time a week and do a 1 hour in-person, like just for kids. So we're keeping it very small, time to work together on something special. So that's really been a highlight of all their week because they so miss being with each other. On top of that, we are able to offer food. Every child gets a bag of food that's in our virtual program. and they get 5 days worth of breakfast and lunch. I should say we are a lot like Carrie and Katrina. We also have an enrollment process that is based on eligibility. And just like they said, if your child is currently on an IEP, or even if you have some concerns about something, that would be something you would want to tell our enrollment person, and that we can probably get you in, even if like the over income is what I was trying to say. There's other ways. Foster care system too is another. And so if this doesn't sound like it's something that would pertain to you, but you might know somebody, please tell them about us, and we'd love to get you guys in. The family can access the enrollment department by calling a number that I'll put in the chat, and or going to our website. Oh, and I forgot I was going to share my screen and show you guys a cute flyer of enrollment. I get nervous. EOCF also, I wanted to let you know we have home-based programs as well. So we accept children from 4 weeks to 5. And there's so many varieties and choices that we offer that I encourage you to look us up at www.eocf.org. And I will put in the chat the phone number to call for our enrollment. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jessica. And I'll be presenting on our latest program, which is Transitional Kindergarten. That's a new program we'll be offering this fall at Hathaway. And Transitional Kindergarten is a pre-kindergarten program. It will support children who are not yet 5, who do not have access to high quality early learning experiences and need that additional support to be successful in kindergarten. So this program supports students that year before they go into kindergarten. It is not an income-based program that serves students from diverse cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds. With this program, it is a full day pre-kindergarten program. So they'll follow the same schedule that they follow for a typical kindergarten school day. They're fully integrated into the school. So they would attend specials, have library time, music time, PE, go to lunch at the school. They would have busing provided through our transportation department. So it's integrated with all of the school activities. The teacher would be a certified teacher from the state of Washington. And so that program is available for information. You'll visit our website. I think Les will pop information into our chat box, so you can visit the website for more information if you'd like to enroll in that program. So our Transitional Kindergarten program will be open at Hathaway. Again, that's supporting students the year before they go into kindergarten. So I just want to say again how exciting it is to have everybody here represented as we think about the various programs that we have to support students in those early years before they enter their formal education in K-12 and beyond. So thank you all for being here. All right, unless I think we can move into questions when you're ready. I think we've all had an opportunity.
Remember to unmute myself. So we don't have any questions yet from the people in the audience, which either means we've done a really thorough job of explaining all of these myriad of programs, or they are still wondering what they should ask. And so we can, if anybody has anything else that they want to add about their program, we could take a second to do that. I did want to say that the website address for EOCF, I think actually is eocfwa.org. And so I put the corrected link in for that into the chat. For most of the programs that we're highlighting today, they are listed on the Washougal School District website in a couple of different places. So some of them are listed, if they're a district program, they're listed under our schools. If they're a partner organization, they're listed under the Our District menu and then under the Partners in Education link. And so you'll find links to EOCF and ECEAP on that page that go to the places where you can find more information on the web about those. So let's give our attendees just another minute or two to formulate a question if they have something that they want to ask us. And if anybody else wants to add something that they forgot, or if you forgot to share something like the slide that Jessica was talking about, I think you could take a second to do that too. And if nobody has any questions, then we'll wait a couple minutes and then we can wrap things up.
Great. So while we're waiting, I just wanted to again thank everybody for their excellent presentations and strong communication, critical. We will, of course, post this on our website so that folks who have questions about our early learning programs have then access to resources. When I think about resources, I've always thought of them as money, time, energy, and emotion. It's not just dollars, it's all of those other things. And I look at the strong team that's presented today, that's represented on our Zoom screen. It really, it encourages me so much to know that our resources are really at work here. Our time, our energy, our emotion, and our money to make sure that all of our children are prepared. I did want to again highlight our early learning folks on this call. You have been at the beginning of our phase-in process. As we've all struggled with COVID this year, we've moved towards more in-person learning, but per the Department of Health and the governor's regulations, we were tasked to make sure that our earliest learners, our youngest learners, those farthest from educational justice, have priority. And all of you were there. You and your teams have rallied to that call, and you've been supporting our students in person and from the very beginning. So again, thank you for that. I also thank you for the way that you have grabbed onto the opportunities that indeed challenges bring, but there's always an opportunity. I appreciate that positive mindset. I am going to ask if anybody, as you're thinking about providing any additional information about your programs, if anybody had some kind of insights for the future, what are those nuggets that you've grabbed onto during the challenges of COVID as we've been doing virtual and in-person in small groups, just doing things differently? What are those things that you've grabbed onto that you know, wow, we're gonna take that forward because that really is impactful for student achievement?
Well, I have something I can include with that. And Dr. Templeton, I don't know if it's a nugget as much as we've had the smaller classes, the amount of curriculum, the in-depth work that the students are able to do, the progress they are making is quite remarkable. And in addition to that, some of our students, maybe that it's their second year with us and they were the quiet ones, or they were the ones that didn't interact as much with the other students. What they are doing with 6 students compared to what they were doing with 16 students is quite remarkable. We've found leaders that we had no idea that they had that ability. And so seeing them in a different environment has led us to believe we should be expecting more of these students, and we also should be expecting a wider variety of opportunities for them to show who they are and the skill sets they have that they can bring forth into the classroom. So particularly the leadership opportunities, particular little ones that were so quiet and now are talkers. It's really exciting to see they've blossomed. As I think for all of us with COVID, for some, the distance learning has been a nice opportunity for growth, and for others, it's been a significant challenge. And so I would probably say we're seeing some of the same, because with the smaller classrooms too, we know we're probably missing some students that we can't include, but there is that positive too, and that some of these have received attention, some of these students that they might not otherwise in a larger group.
I would like to say that we at first were trying to figure out how to communicate with parents with them not physically coming into the classroom. And we have decided to use Class Dojo, and the communication that the teachers have with the parents this year is so much more than they've had in previous years. And so I think that's something we'll definitely keep up, as well as using Seesaw, which emails out to parents milestones and developmental things that parents should be aware of. And it's been a great thing that I think that will keep going after this year.
I thought of something too, that part of our program is having what we call a family engagement event, where the parents plan what they're wanting in collaboration with the family advocate. They plan an event for the children and the families, and we haven't been able to do that this year. So we've been getting very, very creative and doing Zoom, and the children are joining their parents at home. It might be at night. And one of them, they were making ornaments together, and we had given all the things that they needed to be able to do that at home. So I see that as a positive in the future as we are able to get back together. Maybe somebody doesn't have transportation, maybe somebody, it's a bad time of night, and that they could join from home. So I see that as something that we could move forward to get a lot more in attendance on those events. And something else that just popped into my head is, I can't believe I forgot this. Washougal is one of our, at EOCF, we started a pilot program called Trauma to Resiliency, and creating classrooms with trauma focus in mind, and not knowing, trauma comes in all different kinds of forms, not knowing who might have been through some trauma and not been through trauma. We just set the whole room up as that. And Washougal jumped aboard, Hathaway jumped aboard and said, we want to be one of the pilot programs for our agency. So we set up the room in a different way, where we had a cubby spot for all by myself, and turned down the lighting, and there was all kinds of things that we've done. So I've been very successful with that. And we use the kindness curriculum, which is really a sense of community for the kids, and gratitude circles, and lots of breathing and self-regulation. So very proud of us moving forward in that.
I can also share a little nugget that we have found with 1, 2, 3 Grow and Learn. Nothing replaces in person, right? Just the relationships and being in person and having the ability for children to learn those social skills. I think that that's all really important. But one of the advantages that we have found of having a Zoom world and virtual sessions is that we have been able to have guest speakers come and present to us. Like this month, we're having Susan Verde, who is an author of children's books. And she's going to come and read her books to us. And so it's really exciting that we can open it up for people across the nation, across the world, if we wanted to come in and do guest presentations. And so that has been really impactful for us. And we're looking at how we can continue with that in the future. I don't have answers yet, but we're looking into it.
Jessica mentioned their start home-based services through EOCF, and ESD has those as well. And I think one of the things that we've learned and will continue to carry over is that historically, if families called to cancel that visit because somebody in the house was sick or not feeling well and didn't want a visitor to come in, now being able to do that virtually and have the parent and child still be able to engage in some learning activities, and even just some reduction of isolation for families when you're kind of stuck at home sometimes with different things that might be going on. So I know that our staff are excited that that's something that we plan to carry forward, even when we start doing in-person home visits, that's still going to be an option for families to still stay connected with the supports that are available for them. So that's one of the pieces that we're hopeful as well.
And I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what Lisa had mentioned. While we are not putting as much focus into the social emotional opportunities for the kiddos, because we can't, the fine motor skills, the communication skills, the cognition skills are just blossoming. They're getting a lot more energy than they typically do in a preschool setting. We typically put most of our focus into that social emotional relationship building, facilitated play. And right now, while we can't do that as much as we would like to, the other components are getting a lot of energy. And so these kiddos are going to head into school with a lot of skills and some work to do in the social emotional department, but I'm confident that they'll they'll have some strengths, which is great news.
Well, excellent team. I wrote down some notes as you were talking, and what you're discovering as we think about those nuggets, those things to bring forward, those opportunities from challenge, those things that will make us stronger as we continue to rise as a school district. Things I heard that the rest of the organization is also starting to unearth, things like flexibility, creativity, parent partnerships like we've never had before. And having been an educator, gosh, I don't know, maybe I'm pushing 30 years in the business, that has always been difficult for us because our systems are siloed and it's been hard to connect with parents. We've learned how to do that, and our parents were true partners with us for the last almost full school year. March 13th has a significant impact for all of us. That's a date that is now one of the many in my book of Never to Forget. Communication. We've become a lot better at communicating. How is your kid doing? What happened today in class? What do you know about your child that I need to know so we can together support your child to make sure that he or she is growing emotionally, socially, and academically? Technology. I mean, it is our current reality. It's also our future. And whatever we think we know today, we're going to know more tomorrow about technology. But we have all, myself included, have upped our tech skills like significant. And again, having been almost a 30-year educator, I know that those are things we've talked about. We need to do better. We need to figure out how to do that. My friends, we figured out how to do that. We've done better. So we celebrate that. I think about relationships. That's been the critical key component through all of this, is that somehow our educators have managed, because that's what really matters, is to keep strong relationships with our kids and with our families through this. Some of them have been in-person relationships and some of them have been virtual relationships, but that's been the focus. Identifying critical standards. And so Leslie, you talked about that. The things that maybe did not get as much focus before are now getting some new kind of focus, and that's catching our attention, and we're wondering about that. We're asking all of our classroom teachers, everybody in the organization, think about the essential standards. What are the most important things that we're teaching our children, and how do we keep that going forward so that we are synthesizing down to the core critical thinking skills, the 21st century skills that our kids need to move forward. And then finally, time and space. We have been so time and space bound as a system. The public school system in America has not changed significantly for years. It looks similar until now. So now we've discovered that time and space can be used to our advantage. And I'm thinking about the families that now can connect with us who otherwise would have to cancel an appointment. The children who can't make it to school today because mom is sick, who otherwise wouldn't have access to early learning. Those children now have a way to connect with their world, with their team, with their community. Anyway, I thank you again for all of the work. What smart people you are, how committed and passionate for our children. Again, I'm inspired to be part of your team, and I thank you again for letting me and our community know the important work that you're doing to help lead this school district to be a top performer in the state. Les?
All righty. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Templeton. I appreciate you, as always, summarizing everything up for us and kind of putting a nice neat bow on it. So as a reminder to everybody watching and those participating, we'll be posting this to the district website. Our website is at www.washougal.k12.wa.us. You can also follow the school district on social media. We are at we're at Washougal_SD on Facebook and Twitter. And I really appreciate our panelists today kind of coming and sharing so much about these really neat programs that are out there that are supporting our littlest learners. And when we talk about the class of 2034 and 2035 and 2036, I start feeling really old. But I am really excited to see what the future holds. And I think that you all are doing really amazing work to serve them. So thank you very much for being here, and thanks for your time. Have a good one.